Welcome to AI Watch. Today I have Søren Peter Johansen with me, a technology manager at Teknologisk Institut here in Denmark.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for inviting me.
What is your role really in your job? Could you tell us a bit more about what you're doing day to day and a bit about your employer?
DJI is an organization with 1,000 employees. We are helping companies to exploit technologies. And I specifically is working with robot technologies, helping the industry to exploit what robots can do for their production, to raise their productivity, gain the quality, and there are many exciting features in robots nowadays.
Yeah, I can guess that, and from robots, I mean that's also very close to AI typically, right?
For sure.
If we look into that, so what is that connection? How do you see AI impacting the field of robotics?
What is really important in robots is the way they're being controlled, because like we humans are full of sensors, robots are full of sensors. They are analog to each other. And if robots should be able to do and perform tasks like humans, they should start thinking like humans, like us. And to do that, they should be able to exploit all the data that is entered through the sensors to the robots. And here artificial intelligence becomes really interesting.
Okay, in which way should I think about that? So
because artificial intelligence is a way to handle data, to make data make sense to machines, also to humans.
Hopefully.
But now we're talking about robots, and robots need some senseful data.
You have been recently engaged in a couple of speaking sessions. One was on the Digital Tech Summit, and one quote you raised there was that is AI ready for the industry? And you said yes. Then the next question you raised was, is the industry ready for AI? And you answered that with no. Could you tell us a bit what you mean by that?
There's a lot of interesting tools coming now on the market. However, many of these tools require data, data of a quality that can be used. And I believe that the industry do not necessarily have the data needed for all the artificial intelligence tools.
Well, from our perspective, we can probably agree somehow on that, or at least that data is a big challenge, right? And it is the fuel of all these kind of AI models. Now, when we talk about industry, what kind of industry do you mean? Like industry, like heavy industry primarily? Could assume they're robots.
We could talk about manufacturing industries. They are manufacturing some goods, some products. If I was a manager of this kind of industry, I would think artificial intelligence tools should help me to design our next product in a way so it can be produced by parts and materials sourced locally with as less energy use as possible, in a manner so it can be split apart in 10 years, so all the parts can be reused. Can you give me that tool today? Or maybe you can, but can I give you the data to support the tool? Do we have digitized data that can help us to guide companies to design that kind of products?
And how far, from your perspective, are we there? And what, with that, would you say are the key challenges for industry?
I would say we are kind of far from that
dream scenario.
Yeah, I guess we are. Because all this kind of thinking that the companies are doing, or humans, the employees at the companies are doing today, is not on digital form. So that's really a challenge.
I think to that I can also relate with, living now in Sweden, Denmark, coming from Germany, where obviously processes industries are quite dominated, like production industry and so, but the level of digitalization is quite different than what we'll see here in the Nordics. Now, you as a Dane, you tell me that also here it's a challenge. So probably it's globally quite a thing.
And when I go to companies today, I learn them to design products so they can be assembled automatically. That's the level we are on. It's about changing the culture at the companies.
Now we talked a bit. That's obviously a challenge, right? It's some blocker. Now, could you also kind of point out industries that are probably, and with industries I mean all kinds of potential sectors which are better suited, which are a bit more ready to go into that direction? Or is that what we now said true for every industry?
There are industries that are better prepared to do that because they have data digitized. If we're talking about medical industry, it's you have a lot of quality controls. Quality control is relatively easy to digitize because you have this is a failure product, this is a good product. I have 1,000 of these, 10,000 of these. On this, you can base some knowledge on what is good and what is bad. And it's easy to make an artificial intelligence system replacing humans that can see this is bad, this is good.
Other industry I could probably relate to with my background is the finance industry, right? Obviously not being manufacturing here, so branching a bit out of that, but there's also a lot of data stored in relatively good data sources, so where it's also not necessarily cluttered around in different systems.
What we are used to see is automatic generation of pictures, movies, videos, and stuff like that. And the reason is that there's a lot of digital videos and pictures around, and text as well,
and very accessible as well.
Exactly.
And we will look at the industry. You mentioned video generation, text, so large language models. Now, NVIDIA recently released their profits, which were extraordinary, right? So how do we go from here now? On the one side, we have all these challenges in established companies, industries. Or from the other side, these huge developments we see and trends. How do we bring that together? What do you think is, what kind of trend?
We need some companies coming with some demands. We need this kind of tools. We need some platforms that can be used where you can build on top of a platform. So, because if you're good at generating a movie, you might also be good at generating CAD drawings for production lines, for products. They are not that far away. So you can use the same kind of technology.
I think Siemens, on that note, recently stated that digital twins in manufacturing, production lines, setups become more and more interesting because of the AI capabilities. So you can use it to simulate stuff and potentially even train robots on the production line on the basis of that digital twin if we do changes. So to cut down costs, you don't need to build the factory before. So that seems to be also quite
and maybe we should explain what is a digital twin.
Yeah, maybe we should.
If you have a physical production line, you can and you put on a lot of sensors. You can see that how's the heat, how's the cycle time, etc. All data. You can feed that in a digital model, a copy of this line. And then if you, in the future, would like to run another product, instead of running it on this line, you could run it on the digital twin. And here you can change all the parameters and see what happens. And if it looks like this is feasible, you can then transfer all the parameters to the physical model.
Yeah, exactly. And then you obviously faster to market in that way. Yeah, and it's cheaper.
And the changeover is much faster for the company. And that's really a barrier today. When you're setting up a production line, you should prepare it to run the product you're gonna design in 2 years. And that's difficult.
Going from here, are there any kind of takeaways you would say this is something the audience need to be aware of when thinking about robotics and AI implementations?
Yeah, there's a good rule. Never wait for the perfect technology. It will never arrive because things get better and better and better. Yeah. But if you as an employee at a company should be prepared to exploit technologies like artificial intelligence, you should start today with the available tools. So you get to learn how they're being used, how they're being trained, how you should prompt them to get the right answer. Because when you're trained using these tools, you will be really good at using the next to perfect tool that you need in the future.
I think that's a very, very nice quote. I'll quote you next time on that. On that note, thank you very much for watching this episode of AI Watch. If you're interested in more content, click subscribe, and otherwise see you next time.